follow your dreams, but do reality checks. Okay, and seek advice. Seek advice.
Hello, here with João Raimundo, CEO and founder of Lax. João, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
So tell us a little bit about this space here, this co-working space in Lisbon. What are you guys about?
So basically what we want to do is to create a creative environment where we gather people that basically deal with what we call creative industries, ranging from, let's say, video to even technology, design, all that type of stuff, radio and so on and so forth. We have here, we started with this location where we are now, Kondovic, that hosts about 720 people. Now we have three sites, a brand new one with already 700 people, but can host about 900, and another in Cascais for about 700 people that just started. So our idea is basically to create an environment where people communicate, people cross their paths and exchange ideas. So our, let's say, motto is community of creators. Basically, we want to create a community that communicates and creates, and all of them are important. And I've been hearing about cross-pollination of ideas. That's what we basically want to do. That's why we have so many events. We have talks. We have people that we invite to present their businesses and try to deal with others that are around. Of course, we try to maintain also a link between, let's say, the exterior of Lax and the people in Lax. So we have plenty of companies coming from the, let's say, outside and benefiting from the events room we have here. We can have about, 200, 300 seats there. So we've been having plenty of events ranging from all sorts of industries, even let's say government events like Startup Portugal was launched here at Lax, the National Broadcast Network, TV Network, RTP launched here this year, the new programs and so on and so forth. So we've been using this a lot to create that environment that we're talking about. About new ideas and new, let's say, a new type of place where different cultures meet. We have about 27, we have 27 different nationalities here today, and it's something that I think it's really an asset. It's really a plus for these sort of places where you have very small companies and big companies. Here we have people that are writing soft code for YouTube, Waze, that type of big companies. At Anjos, the other side, we have Uber there, we have Captain, we have plenty of international, multinational companies, and we have national companies, and even the innovation departments of Portuguese companies, like for instance EDP Starter, EDP Inovação is here at Lax, Rock in Rio is here at Lax. So we have plenty of different breeds, let's say, of industries and companies here at Lax.
So we want to know a little bit about João Raimundo. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So my background is basically the banking industry. I was involved for about 27 years in the banking industry, in Portugal, France, Luxembourg, Switzerland, the United States. And a couple of years ago I decided to retire from that activity. I collect art, so I've been involved in let's say in the art business as well, and Lax has this very peculiar perspective regarding coupling art with creativity and with creative environments. So as you might have seen here, we have about 100 young talents that are exhibited here, and we have a well-known I would say, the most well-known photographer in Portugal, also exhibited here with this huge piece of work there with 180 square meters, that photography there, and also other works of this George Mulder here inside the building as well. So we try to have these young talents and these well-known artists working together. Okay, and that's what we've been doing here at Rondowitz and in Anjos and in Cascais as well. So the art is something very important for us, the cultural events. We had just this art, the first Lux Art Talk took place a couple of weeks ago in Cascais, where we gather some entrepreneurs that are involved in the music business, in the gallery. One of them was a gallery director, and so it's very interesting because the art and the creativity related businesses mix very well, and the people that attended that event, that art talk, more than 100 people went there, and some of them, of course, had some direct relations with the art businesses, but others were just simply there. They were keen to know what's happening in the art business nowadays and see what are the trends and what can be done. I mean, as you might have seen, for instance, I mean, technology and art now, they're very related. Yeah, you've seen that Ada, a robot that basically paints, sculptures. I mean, you cannot differentiate the piece of work from that robot from a human, let's say, produced piece of work.
You have AI being used to do
AI
art.
And that's very interesting because who's really the artist? I mean, is the guy writing the code, you know? And it's very interesting to see all those trends, even in the music industry, in the gallery industry. I mean, now people have access to art in a very different manner than they had 100 years ago or 50 years ago. I mean, the curators, what's the role of curators nowadays? I mean, artists are selling their art directly. I mean, now musicians, they upload their video.
The middleman is no longer there.
No longer there. But on the other hand, collectors want to have some sort of stamp of validity, of quality, that curators usually were the enablers, you know? And nowadays you have, I mean, just people buying art directly from young artists and others that are really looking for some sort of, to have, if they want to invest in an artist, to have some sort of a device. So models are changing, but and it's very challenging. It's very challenging for the future.
And those kind of people, they are using these kind of places, these co-working spaces, to do their work. What do you think, João, is the unique value proposition that Lux is bringing to the market?
I think, I mean, first of all, I mean, it's a question of scale. We're by far the largest co-work initiative in Portugal, not only co-work but studios, you know, events and so on and so forth. So we will have by the end of the year close to 3,000 people working at Lux, and that's very interesting because, I mean, you're connecting them, you're creating a community, and that's very valuable. We just started, as you might know, we just started 1 year ago, and I mean, the rhythm will be kept about the same. So we want to keep on opening new Luxes all over the country, and it's going to be very interesting because you might have people from, I don't know, Braga coming to Lisbon to meet. I mean, and if you're a Lux member in Braga, you can use the facilities in Lisbon, in Cascais, in Porto, in wherever we are. So that's going to be very, very powerful in terms of value proposition. And I think that the type of, we're also curators. We have plenty of people that want to join us, but we do not think that they might match with our, let's say, values or with our objectives and goals. So we're very strict in that respect. We want the type of businesses and the type of people we want here. We want really people involved in the, let's say, creative industries. So it's not just like, I mean, we've seen other office spaces there. I mean, that you have first of all, they accept, I think, everyone, but they're not as focused as we are in creating a community and having events and creating all the environment that make people talk to one another and exchange their views and try to work together and find opportunities in doing businesses in a different way.
Do you see these new co-working spaces substituting or complementing the company culture that some companies already have?
Yeah, I think it's not a fad. This is really a trend. I think that, and we've been seeing this for years and years. Innovation departments in big companies typically are not in the same premises as where the big companies are. They try to have their innovation departments elsewhere, so they can think a bit, not really out of the box, but differently, and not really being as involved on a daily basis of the company reality. So by taking those innovation departments and by having them close, for instance, to small companies that are really keen on discovering what's going to be done next in certain types of businesses, it's really, it's really adding value. And I think that's what people want. People do not want to be sort of being in a small closed box in a building in the middle of Lisbon. They prefer to be in these sort of spaces, of course, where they can have their privacy, but if they go out of their studio, they can meet lots of very interesting people that are really looking at the future, seeing what are the trends and what can be done in very, very different types of businesses. We just teamed up. We have plenty of partners, but we just signed a partnership with Fabricat Startup, where the old, let's say, incubator in Portugal, and of course everybody knows them. They're very close to big corporates. They have plenty of programs, and that's what we want, where we want to be, close to startups and close to people that provide those startups and these companies with their advice, and of course with their connections in order to provide the means to achieve their goals, So that's basically what I think we're very different in that respect, because I think in Portugal we're the only ones doing that.
Yes. Lisbon is a really trendy city right now, even Portugal altogether. How do you see the industry, the co-working industry, evolving in Lisbon?
I think it will expand. I think it's good for us to have, for Portugal, no doubt about it. It's very good to have programs like this government program, Startup Portugal, having in Lisbon. I know pretty well Startup Lisbon. It's a very good venture. We'll be having that fantastic site at Beato. So it's a huge space. So it's going to be very, very demanding.
Now no office work, right?
Yeah, and it's going to be very, very interesting, because I think this is basically a supply-driven.
Oh, you mean Beato, the whole infrastructure?
The whole hub creative de Beato. They have, 30 or 40,000 square meters that are available in the near future. So, and as I was saying, this is a supply-driven business. So, if you have more offer, the demand will appear. Because as you were saying, Portugal is now an attractive place to work and to live in. So people are coming to Lisbon, and of course they need these sort of flexible working spaces, because what we've been seeing here, for instance, I'm remembering one particular company. 1 year ago there were 12 people. Now there's 60. Of course, and they need flexible working spaces, and it's difficult. If you rent an office space in a building in the middle of Lisbon, and if you're 12, and then you are 24, then 36, and then 60, are you going to keep on moving? From one place to the other, or are you going to start paying a rent for 60 people when actually at that moment in time you just have 12? So these flexible solutions, I think, are going to be really the future.
Where do you see it going? Let's put 10 years into this. Where do you see it going?
On
Do
one
you see,
hand,
do you see companies moving out of their own buildings?
I think, I mean, of course, it depends on the sizes of the companies, and of course, I mean, Google has a campus, you know. I mean, it depends, of course, the size of the companies. But I see the innovation departments of companies. I mean, following the trend that I've just mentioned, okay, not being at the premise. So, people and the majority of the big companies having innovation departments, strong innovation departments that need to be very well connected to other players. And I see a growing demand in the medium term for sure. Even if working habits change a lot, and I mean, as it's happening now, I mean, you can work from home, you can work, but no man is an island, as we usually say. So you need to relate to people, and of course, you can also, I mean, you can relate to people online and not really actually physically meeting people. But I think that the physical contact will still be very, very important. So I think that in the future, this market will keep on growing, and of course we have international benchmarks like WeWork, you know, plenty of, I mean, they grow and they invest in making huge investments in their growth, and I think that's the right move. The right move. You see also hotels that are hotels and they have co-working spaces. You see the co-living concept nowadays. I mean, you have apartments with co-working spaces. So you have these digital nomads. I mean, people live in Berlin, live in Lisbon, live in Porto, live in London, live wherever they live. And okay, so they show up, they want an apartment, they want some places where to work, but where they can also meet people. And so they need to have these amenities. I mean, a gym, a swimming pool, whatever. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be this growing mobility of people and families. It's going to make the office, let's say, business change a lot.
So let's talk about a little bit about Lex again. So you have 3 locations already. What's the difference there? The difference between them.
I mean, Cascais is a bit different. Okay, it's a bit different. Cascais is a different environment. Smaller companies that, I mean, what are you seeing in Lisbon? It's very difficult to find a place to rent. I mean, in order to stay, and people that came from abroad, you want to rent an apartment. It's very difficult. Okay, so I mean, and if you live outside of Lisbon, Oeiras or Parede, Carcavelos, I mean, you would rather go to Cascais than come into Lisbon because of traffic jams and all that other stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Lisbon is going to grow. But we're sure that Cascais will be a success because, I mean, it's very convenient for people to live in Sintra, live in Cascais, Estoril, Parede, Passo de Arcos. I mean, all those guys that are in that, let's say, west side of Lisbon to work in Cascais rather than coming to Lisbon. So it's Lisbon. I mean, it's growing. This Beato, no doubt, will be in the future. In a couple of years, 3 years, will be an interesting spot where to work and where to live nowadays. In terms of one of the things that's crucial is access. Okay, here you have the train, Caixoura station. You have the underground. You have, I mean, even the tramways. I mean, you have everything here. In Anjos, where we are, you have the underground. I mean, 20 meters from the entrance. So that's very interesting. And Anjos, for instance, you have all that from Martim Muniz to Penha de França, Arroios, Anjos, Intendente, which are now zones of Lisbon that are really booming, and people are moving there because you still can afford apartments there, because otherwise you have to go out of Lisbon. So it's very, very interesting what's happening with that part of Lisbon. That's why we went to Anjos.
So I want to switch gears a little bit and go into entrepreneurship. So you're an entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah.
Tell us about the challenges that you had building this place.
I mean, first of all, it was on one hand very demanding, on the other hand very interesting, because this is a concession from the, let's say, Lisbon Port Authority that rules, let's say, over all these the river banks, let's say. So this building is owned by the Port Authority. So there was this public, let's say, tender offer. So we bid and we won. And then this was the building where the people that were working at the port used to shower and eat. Okay, and this building had been abandoned for 20 years, 25 years, something of the kind. So we invested a lot here in order to create this space. So, and it took us close to one and a half years to finish the works. And of course, that was very interesting because this is a unique spot, and we wanted to be, let's say, the first. To have the advantage of the first mover, to be the first creative cluster in Lisbon, and we managed to, and that was very important for us. So it was interesting, of course, all this type of processes like this public offers, and then the building, the working, all the works, and all the legal related issues. Were, to say the least, were interesting. Interesting. Always surprises, surprises all the time. But we managed to deal with them, and here we are. We are fully occupied. Of course, there are always people coming out and coming in, because companies grow, as I was saying. So some want to move out, and we have some sort of a pipeline. And we try to, of course, accommodate all interests. That's why we have people that want to come here to Condovic, but we say, okay, you can go to Anjos, and whenever here is available, you will be able to come to Condovic, and vice versa, or Cascais, or whatever. We try to, and that's why I think it's going to be interesting to have, let's say, a wider range of sites. So we're working now in our expansion. Of course, we've been working on our expansion business, keeping the same model in Lisbon and outside Lisbon. Of course, Porto, Gaia, Braga, Aveiro, all those places are going to be very interesting. Even the South Bank of Lisbon, it's going to be very interesting. And of course, we're looking into that.
João, please share with us a good piece of advice with young entrepreneurs.
On one hand, I would say that follow your dreams, but do reality checks. Okay, and seek advice.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you.